So the purpose of this video is to explain principally why and how Quiz Publisher can help you to rapidly deploy your quizzes. We're starting with the product installed. The add-on is installed already. I have a blank drive folder, as you can see. It's called Quiz Publisher Demo with nothing in it. And I've got some classes that are part of my full class set, of which I'm a teacher. So some instructions are here, but what I'll do is I'll take you through the steps. The first thing I need to do is create a blank sheet as standard. So we'll wait for that to install. It's working to build out the add-ons that I've got. I've got 3 or 4 add-ons on here, so it takes a little bit of time. And you can see I have an empty sheet with a blank spreadsheet, untitled, etc. So I'll go to my add-ons, find the Quiz Publisher, select Setup, and Build Example Sheet. And what this will do, it'll copy down all of the artifacts that I need for the Quiz Publisher to operate, and it will also create me a new sheet tab, which will be populated with support data and a couple of example questions. So what you'll notice is I can have multiple choice, paragraph, checkboxes, and drop-down types. These are automatically generated for me. And I've got some example questions, some settings, which I'll talk about later. I've got some feedback, etc., correct and incorrect answers. Very rapidly, what I'll do is I'll just select 2 lines. I can then go to my add-ons, Quiz Publisher, and I can create a quiz from those currently selected rows. What the product is now doing is asking me for a name for the quiz, so I'll call it Demo Quiz Key Stage 3 Python. Hit the Create button, and the Quiz Publisher is now generating a new Google form into which it's adding the questions, for example, 2 multiple choice question types, with the questions and the answers as selected or configured here. If I wish to, I could go and look at the quiz prior to publishing. So this is a URL which is now looking at the generated quiz, which will be published in about 3 seconds. So here we can see the quiz. I can modify it if I wish to at this point. So I always have 2 sections where I first collect the first name and the last name. And here are the 2 questions that I've just added, which have automatically got answers and points assigned to them, correct answers. Additionally, they will have been randomized. The order of the answers will have been randomized, because I can shuffle the answer order. So anyway, now what I can do is I can publish my quiz, the newly generated form, by clicking the Publish button. And what the product has done is retrieved all of the Google Classrooms of which I am a teacher. So you can see I've got a number of classes which I teach. Additionally, I've got some sandboxes, which are kind of like my testing development classes. So I'll select Year 8 Key Stage 3 Sandbox and Year 7 Key Stage 3 Sandbox, and I will publish to those classrooms. I could, of course, pick as many as I wanted. So it's the Year 7 and Year 8 Key Stage 3 Sandboxes. It's successfully published. So now I could go to my courses. So I should find in my Year 7 sandbox a classwork assignment. Not put in, there's no topic associated with it, but here I can see my quiz, which appears as an assignment, which I can then edit as I see fit. So for example, if I wanted to, I could have grade importing, I could set the points, etc., etc. This is what it looks like, as you'd expect, as a quiz. So ask firstly for your first name, last name, test. And here I can see the questions that I selected and published, which the students would then answer. So that's basically one way of publishing your questions for your quiz. What I could also do is, if you see here, I'll actually, what I'll do, I'll freeze that row. You see I've got question groups. I can, if I wish, choose to publish based on question groups. So here I've got example question group 1, example question group 2, and the Key Stage 3 Python. It will retrieve the unique values that you could use. So I could actually just choose to publish all of the Key Stage 3 Python, as well as example question group 2. And you know what? I'll do all of them. Why not? It will generate a title. My title will be a combination of all of these values. It attempts to create a sensible title for me, which I'll accept. This will, of course, be the quiz name. I'll create that quiz. Once again, my URL has disappeared, and now it will be regenerated as a new quiz. Once it's finished generating, it will provide me the option to publish it. And here I can see the quiz. I could actually click here to open the quiz, the generated quiz, just to check if I wished. Again, it's first name, last name. I've got the questions. All of the questions that I selected in that case have been pushed. So clearly the intent is, I won't publish it because you've seen that in operation already. The intent is clearly, for me as a teacher, to have a way of storing a large number of questions and to be able to choose, for purposes of assessment of learning or assessment for learning, exit tickets, starters, whatever you might choose, to very, very quickly choose a series of questions and generate a working Google form-based quiz for that class. The speed at which you type is basically the speed at which you can generate new questions. So I could say demo question, call it demo again. I'll make it a drop down in this case. I'll say required is false. I could choose to make it mandatory. The question is required or not required. Here's the question. What is the capital of France? Question mark. Shuffle the answer order. So clearly, if I shuffle the answer order here, this will randomize the, not the question order, but the order in which the answers are shown to the student. I can provide feedback here if I require. So feedback, well done. Sorry, go all the way around. Feedback, bad luck. Or feedback, well done. Now here, I can choose as many correct or incorrect answers as I wish. So I could say an incorrect answer would be London. An incorrect answer would be Germany. An incorrect answer would be Lyon. The correct answer could be Paris. The correct answer, if you've got a sense of humor, might also be F. But in this case, I've got two possible correct answers. I can simply add more correct answer columns if I need them, and also more incorrect answer columns if I need them. So you're not limited or restricted to a set number of correct or incorrect answers, but you can choose. So let's put another incorrect answer as being Birmingham. No, Huddersfield. Here we go. What I'll do, I'll just copy the formatting so it looks pretty. I can, if I wish, apply some validation. So what it will do, it'll add all the validation, as you can see it, to here and here to make sure that my values are correct. And I will publish that. Single question as a demo. We'll see what it looks like. I shall call this one demo simple. Create it. Give it a few seconds, and then I can open it, or I can publish it. I'll open it, just have a look, make sure it's okay. As you can see, what's the capital of France? If I edit it, you can see that it's actually set, because there's a drop down, you can only have one correct answer, so it's only got 1 point, although there are 2 possible correct answers, F and Paris. It's not required, and the order, as you can see, has been randomized. Okay. What's happening in the background is, as I create new quizzes, here's my original spreadsheet. Here's a baseline quiz. The baseline quiz is actually populated here. So when I installed it and ran setup, it copied down for me a baseline quiz. What this allows me to do, if I open it from here, it allows me to configure what my quiz will, the settings and the appearance will look like when I start appending my questions to it. So this point, it's got no questions here. I could, for example, change any of the settings, collecting email addresses, presentation settings, etc., etc. These will be automatically used, and any new quiz will inherit those settings. So let's, for example, let's just change the color. I'll make it red. I'll make a background color of brighter red, and we'll let that save. All changes are saved. So the next time I go back to my quiz and I run my quiz publisher from currently selected rows, what we should find is, I'll call this one demo red. I create it. My quiz has been, the form has been generated and will appear here as a URL. So here it is, appearing as a URL. And I can now open that quiz, or from here, or from here. I'll open it from here. And you'll see that now the newly generated quiz is, as I requested, everything's red, and all the settings have been inherited, etc., etc. So what it does, it takes out the pain of doing your configuration and puts it into a one task activity at the beginning. So within a matter of seconds, I could actually come into a class, set a series of questions. Because it's a Google quiz based on a form as an assignment in Google Classroom, of course, I can import the grades, I can then review the results, and I could come back and actually pick additional questions, maybe to review or reinforce those questions. Because it's a spreadsheet, I can have as many questions as I want, and I can decide what my question group name is going to be. The description will appear, as you can see. For example, I can have descriptions. It will concatenate those descriptions, and they will appear in my generated quiz as the description value here. So that could be anything you want, would help you. The question types, as mentioned, I've got multiple choice, paragraph, checkboxes, and drop downs. If it's multiple choice, checkbox, or drop down, the number of marks is determined by what question type it is, as well as how many correct answers there are. Okay, so here for multiple choice, you're going to choose once. For a checkbox, you can choose more than one. So here, I'd actually have a question that had 2 marks assigned to it. For a paragraph, there's no concept of correct or incorrect in Google Forms. But if you give a value here to one of your choice truths, it will assign that as the mark by default. We can also have correct and incorrect feedback. In this case, both are concatenated with a prefix of correct or incorrect. So let's have a demonstration of that. So I could go to add-ons, quiz publisher, publish this row only. Let's call this a para demo. I'll create it. And what we'll see is the generated Google Form quiz will have a question of long answer text. The answer key is 6 points. I could have a look at the feedback, and it's taken my correct and my incorrect, and it's concatenated. If I have only one, it puts it as the correct or incorrect. But it'll concatenate those values and give you your feedback, so you can create quizzes of exam type questions. Some additional things. Everything I'm doing in this folder because I chose this folder. This is the link which I can change, so you could choose the folder it will work in here. So this will open, and you can change the URL simply by putting the link into the folder you wish to use. As you can see, this is my baseline quiz that I downloaded, or that was downloaded for me, and these are the quizzes that I've created. So it creates a quiz each time for you. Let me close that. Let me close that. One additional thing possibly that might be of interest is I can actually, for example, I rename my sheets to be, not delete it, sorry. I was going to rename it. So I'll call this year 7. I can also have a sheet for year 8. So I could actually add on quiz publisher, setup, build an example sheet. It'll get another copy of this sheet for me, which is generated here. I could rename this to year 9 or year 8, whatever it might be. And these work independently. So the questions here are not the same set as the questions here. Okay. I can copy and paste between sheets. Additional things in the menu. So I've got quiz publisher, question groups. So selecting from the question group value, selected rows. I can also publish quiz to Google Classroom. That simply, whatever the URL is here, it will publish that quiz to Google Classroom. So I don't need to regenerate each time if I'm sure that that's the quiz I wish to publish. So for example, without having to go through the generation process, I could actually choose publish this quiz to the Google Classroom. And I could choose as many, again, of course, choose as many classes as I want. Yeah, I will publish all of them. Help if you go to the website, quiz publisher website, which is here. It's got a bunch of questions about key features, getting started, some examples, steps we've been through today. Let's talk about the question types, which are available to you anyway. There's a way of providing feedback if you wish, and some videos on how you can execute initial setup, etc., etc. So that's quiz publisher. I'm a teacher. I need this. I'm using it. It makes my life infinitely easier. I can very, very quickly create starter quizzes. I can create assessment for learning, assessment for progress checks, etc., etc., even exit tickets. The only limitation really is the speed at which I can type, or the speed at which I can select and choose the questions to give to my students. That's it. Thank you for listening. I hope you find it useful. If you do, please give me some review feedback. And if you want to give feedback, you can always go to the Quiz Publisher help, learn more. There's a feedback section here where you can click on it and provide feedback to me as a form. Okay. If you have any issues, any feature requests, any additional comments. Okay. That's it. Thank you. Goodbye.